go. This is not going to end well.
Yeah.
So this is what it's devolved into.
It has. I am still super excited, and I hope you guys are too.
I'm incredibly excited.
Yeah.
I think this is like the prize fight of the day. No offense to the other teams, and obviously, like, I'm incredibly biased here because PL's like my team. My heart's on the line here, and I don't want to have my heart broken.
Yeah, the reigning champions in PL versus the Gorgon Empire. I'm not sure. As you mentioned before, the Gorgon Empire now consists of members of XII, the tournament team from previous years, and they are strong. So, but I'm not sure what they're bringing by banning Geddon, but they don't want newts, or maybe they just don't like the.
When it comes to banning the Geddon, my policy is why not? Why not? Just ban it.
I guess so. It's a pretty good utility ship. Like the newts are really strong.
Well, it does fit into so many comps, and it's not something that you can blend with anything. Now, like, hey guys, you want a Gila core? Let's and yes, Gila. But we're gonna throw a Geddon in, you know, just to zest things up. It's not like that. It's definitely a comp that you have to plan around if you're gonna include that Geddon. But it applies well to so many situations. You don't see the Geddon brought just to counter a Tinker, you know, and with how few blaster rushes we see, it's not really a counter to that either. So it's kind of this interesting ship that's all about applying pressure, and then the comp is actually about what follows. So
I totally agree. You really have to know what you're doing when you ban the Geddon, and you also have to be very aware of your opponents, because the Geddon was the most chosen ship to be a flagship this year. So even if you ban the Geddon, it may very well still come. If you ban the Geddon and think, okay, they're not bringing a Geddon team, and you forgot to check what your opponent's flagship was, you will just be in a world of hurt.
That's actually a really good point. When you're theory crafting a setup, like this isn't something that they would have done today, but in the last month or something, if Gorgon Empire was theory crafting a setup, they would have to be hyper aware that, hey, if anything that we have is really, really vulnerable to damps, they could just have one that goes in.
Yeah, I just got word that the match is ready, so it's time for this Hyperion to fly off into space. I want to hear your predictions before it takes off.
I think that PL lets players not in Sniggeredly or Habit on their teams, so I'm going to go with Darkside Gorgon Empire.
I think PL's going to win, and it's going to be like a crazy setup that we haven't seen before.
Again, it's going to be really awkward if I don't say this, because he'll throw weird glances at me and makes me uncomfortable. So I'm going to go Pandemic Legion of my own will, not because he told me to before this.
And I just got purged.
Yes, you did. I'm going with PL as well, because...
Really?
Yes. Yes.
Welcome back, everyone, to this much-anticipated final match of the day. This is Pandemic Legion versus the Gorgon Empire, which includes the former Darkside members. So in a lot of ways, this is a rematch of PL getting knocked out of XII. This is CSP Fozzie and Bacchanalian bringing you the match. PL has brought exactly what Elise said they probably wouldn't bring, a Shield Tinker with a Golem, and Shield Eoses, something that we haven't seen yet in a Tinker format. And then Gorgon Empire, why don't you tell us a little bit about this setup, because it's pretty awesome.
It is a really interesting setup. They've brought an artillery Sleipnir, 2 Orthrus, 3 Cerberus, 3 Caracol, and 3 Slasher with just rapid light missiles coming out of every, well, you know what I'm saying.
That is a lot of burst damage.
It is a lot of burst damage. Yeah. The question is, do they have enough burst damage to break through the Tengu, break through the Moa? What do they go for first?
I'd say the Moa, because a lot of these ships have good kinetic resist, and your Serbs, of course, are going to be doing mostly kinetic damage. So we'll see. The match has now begun. Of course, the whole team from Gorgon came in at about 20 kilometers, 30 kilometers, and they are sending their drones in right away to start doing some damage. The goal Golem is actually a little ways away from the rest of the PL team.
For an EOS.
Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised.
They might think through shields on a shield EOS.
Wow.
Wow.
The artillery, I think, helped a lot. Man, that is he's losing armor.
Caracol, Sam, and Garino starting to lose shields in the meantime, but this
if
EOS is in a low
drops,
armor.
That's going to be links off the field, a bunch of damage off the field, a cap transfer off the field. That would be a huge loss for PL.
About to lose a Caracol, though, but that EOS...
That EOS is going down. The
He's
EOS is breaking.
now.
The EOS is breaking.
Here we go. That is half structure now. They got that Caracol is going to drop, and I don't think that's enough.
Caracol's going to go down before the EOS, but I don't think it's going to be enough. Yeah, I'm sure that the Tango of Linda Kwan there is overheating.
More structure.
But
just
EOS
a sliver of
is
structure.
going down. He's in tiny amounts of structure. He's pulling back shields now.
Miraculously pulled back all of his shields suddenly.
The EOS survived for now with a grand total of 16% structure. I am amazed. All right, so at the moment, the Cerberus is the primary for Pandemic Legion. They're using the cruise missiles from the Golem. They're using the drones from the Rattlesnake and from the EOS and taking down these ships. We knew that this Gorgon team was going to be one that was vulnerable to the DPS from the PL Tinker. The PL Tinker can definitely kill stuff in this setup. I'm amazed at how quickly the EOS went down. I actually didn't expect them to go down, especially with Cerberus is doing all their kinetic damage so quickly. But also that he somehow got saved at such a tiny sliver of structure. Now the Tengu is the primary. So now Gorgon is taking what they have left. They know that this is basically their only hope. They need to break this Tengu. If they want to win this fight, they're taking big chunks out of it. They still have an artillery Sleipnir, and they still have a bunch of rapid light ships. They're probably going to have to wait for a reload.
Well, it looks like they're going for the Tengu now. They've started to try to get through Linda Kwan, and who knows, another Caracol is going to go down here, though. Every ship that drops PL gets a bigger advantage. I really think they break that EOS, Gorgon Empire wins the match. They didn't break that EOS, and I just don't see that they're not going to regain an advantage in this match. I mean, it's just not going to happen now.
So the Gorgon Empire Sleipnir is doing the right thing and standing still, so he gets the biggest hits possible. The rapid light missile ships, or a lot of them, they got a ton of damage on the EOS, but now they've gone into reload, so they're going to be getting that done and then applying their damage probably to the Tengu again. It's possible they could break this Tengu with everyone together. It looks like that they
if they're going to lose another Cerberus before that happens.
They can keep them alive. Yeah, they need to keep the DPS alive as long as possible until they get the reload and then try to burst through this Tengu fast. The rapid light missiles have that burst damage advantage, but that they keep losing.
Is down.
And that's the captain of Gorgon Empire too, so that could potentially be one of their main target callers. With 2 Cerberuses and 2 Caracols off the field, it's a pretty big chunk of damage down. The EOS, they're going for him again because they know if they can get him into low shields, they could even just bleed through the damage.
Bleed through volume, absolutely. So he did pull back a little armor from somewhere, which is interesting. I'm not sure how that happened.
He is pulling back some armor. I'm going to take a quick look and see. He has armor maintenance bots on him. So it looks like these are probably dual tanked EOSs. We saw that actually from the EOS in the Shadow Cartel match. PL's last EOS that survived in just a sliver of structure at the end of the match had armor plates as well as shield extenders.
Another Caracol down. That EOS is, it's not going to break. You know, I think, God, they almost volleyed an EOS. Why not start off on the MOA? You're going to get the MOA down. I know it's just some points. I don't know. But EOS, I guess you want those links off the field, but
if they could have killed that EOS, that would have won them the fight, I think. It's pretty clear that with an EOS off the field, it's that much damage. One of the remote reppers, the links from the EOS would have been absolutely a massive victory for them. But the EOS of Paik. Now keep in mind, this is the same EOS pilot that survived in the sliver of structure in the Shadow Cartel match. So I wonder if it's even the same EOS.
It's just amazing. It's heartbreaking for Gorgon Empire, who were that close. How many hit points in structure does he have left? I'm curious. Exactly.
So he has 16%. So whatever.
You don't have the
No, I don't have the number.
The raw number on there. Oh well, with 16%, I'm sure someone in stream chat will figure that out and post it before too long. Yeah, that EOS is not going to die now, and it's just a matter of PL cleaning this up. 5 minutes and 45 to go. They have plenty of time to do that. With no logistics on the Gorgon Empire side, it's just a matter of picking them apart.
Yeah. So Gorgon Empire came in with a very bold setup. Orthruses are a ship that we've actually been seeing a lot of good teams using. And a lot of the winners bracket teams have been using these ships, combining it with Cerberuses, Caracols. That is a ton of rapid light missile launchers. The Sleipnir, we kind of poo-pooed the artillery Sleipnir when we saw it on the field, but it helped a lot, I think. It's possible the sustained damage from autocannons would have helped even more, but I think that it probably surprised PL with the alpha added to that burst damage.
I mean, that EOS lost shields before the Tengu even got reps on it. It was already taking armor damage by the time you saw shield reps land, and then it was a matter of that they were so far ahead that they were able to just volley through the rest of the armor, volley through the structure, and we're probably one volley from winning this fight, and that's just, that's heartbreaking. Another Orthrus is going to go down for Gorgon Empire. Pandemic Legion has clung to this. I mean, it's amazing. They haven't
Right
had
on
a
the
convincing win yet. I mean,
this is pretty convincing.
This is pretty convincing,
but it's also
but
so close
like,
to being the other way.
Right.
It was on a knife's edge, and then it swung very heavily towards
and
PL.
that's what's happened. I mean, it did swing very heavily, but they haven't had a match yet where they just were completely 100% in control from the get-go, which is what you would expect out of a Pandemic Legion, out of a team of their caliber. You would not expect them to kind of look like they're struggling that much. And I really thought this was going to be a defining moment for PL, where they're either going to just, you know, be the old PL we expect, or they were going to completely fall apart. They did neither.
Well, they haven't had any easy opponents either. So like, we shouldn't take anything. We shouldn't say like, oh, it's because their opponents like were so terrible that like PL had to like stumble to be challenged against them. These are good teams, and Gorgon Empire, of course, includes a lot of the members that knocked PL out from their last run of string of tournament victories. So this is not a team that anyone should be taking lightly. And of course, it's going to be a team that a lot of people are going to be afraid to face in the losers bracket.
Another one of the harder teams that's going to be down there.
So we talked, the analysis guys talked a little bit about how PL has a lot of experience with these Tinker teams. They're obviously a team that has used them very heavily in recent years. They actually didn't really invent them. We've seen similar setups that, like even the version that had the Tech 3 ship was used by Agony before PL used it. But like many things, PL took it, popularized it a bit more, and added a fancier name to it, and then that stuck. This is a situation where they're actually innovating quite a bit on the formula. Seeing the EOS with a shield tinker, but an obviously dual tanked EOS. They've got armor rep bots. They almost definitely, we're not going to be able to find out because he didn't die, but almost definitely have plates on him as well so that he can handle this alpha. This is actually a pretty clever innovation on the tinker, something we haven't seen other teams do yet. And it'll be interesting to see whether that's something other teams start like practicing really hard this week if they make it through tomorrow to get ready for the final weekend.
Yeah, I'm curious what role MOA really plays in that. I don't know, maybe something Elise can shed some light on, but it feels like they've got a bunch of really beefy ships that, you know, wouldn't die at Alpha, and then they got this MOA.
So the MOA fits really well in the points and probably has some remote assistance. So like he has the resist bonus, so like for that point he's the sturdiest thing you can get, and then he's going to likely have some remote ECCM and some remote sensor boosters to help out the rest of the team.
I don't see him using any of that, but I guess it's a matter of you don't need the remote ECCM, so save the cap.
So that's what I would expect this MOA to be doing, which is another reason that knocking him down is going to be helpful. But yeah, obviously actually not cap transferring though.
No, that's why I was wondering. I figured that's what he'd be doing. You know, it's one thing to point out. You know, I was saying that he's not running any of the remote stuff right now. But if Pandemic Legion doesn't need the remote ECCM, they don't need the remote sensor boosting, whatever it may be that he's trying to do. And Seamus isn't running those modules, so he's saving. It seems like an insignificant amount of cap. But over the course of time, if you suddenly need cap, suddenly get neutered, something like that, you want every last little shred of cap you can. So a good pilot even sometimes will. In a situation where they don't expect to be taking damage, they're not even locked up by anybody, they may not even turn on their imbol. You know, you will conserve cap anywhere you can in a fight where it may be necessary, and that's just good practice and good piloting. So
yeah, the other thing is that because of our Crest API, we can look at the effects here, but also every module you turn on, that gets broadcast out to the world for them to see.
Sure.
And so if we don't know whether what he has is remote ECCM, remote sensor boosters, or both, and now neither does anyone else because he hasn't turned them on.
Makes it a lot harder to reverse engineer the setups, and that is something that I don't know if a lot of teams are using it. All the better teams that I've talked to, they're using that Crest data. They are taking it apart. They're going into the code behind it to find out exactly what effects they see, so they can reverse engineer the fits. I mean, I had an ex-Alliance member of mine who's doing that send me basically, I think it was the Footworks Tinker setup. He sent me the exact setup that they used. Didn't die, but he could figure out everything that was active on there and down to like 2 modules. So it is another thing to mention. Definitely, if you don't activate it, no one knows you've got it.
And it's important to note for all our viewers, this isn't a tool that's just useful for the tournament pros. It's also something that's fed into a lot of really great third-party tools, including a website that everyone should know about if you're a fan of the tournament. null-sec.com has created a great 3D tournament viewer. You can look at all the bands, you can look at the setups that everyone brought, and you can watch the matches back and with the ability to like actually look around and see where every ship moves and watch every detail. It's a great tool.
Absolutely,
and I highly recommend it.
Well, with that, congratulations to Pandemic Legion, who've stay in the winners bracket, and we'll move on to fight Rogue Capel. Gorgon Empire will drop into a losers bracket that is becoming increasingly tougher as the tournament goes on, and with that, we will sign out and pass you back over to the desk.
A match to end the day. For a second there, I thought you were about to.
I may have died.
You may have died.
But I came back. I
Yeah.
came back to life, just like Manny's EOS. That's the second time that Pake's EOS has survived in less than 20% structure and lived to tell the tale.
I saw all 7 stages of grief on Elise's face within about 60 seconds.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, I just hear the word baited. And then I look over, and he's smiling from ear to ear. And for some reason, I felt really bad. I don't know what it is. But when you're happy, you exude this weird thing that makes the people near you unhappy.
Yeah, I suck everyone's happiness out.
Yeah,
That's how
yeah.
happy I am. I'm so happy I broke my mic.
Yeah, I noticed
Man,
it.
that was great. I mean, we can talk about the setup, but it was kind of great. It was really weird setup from PL. It's a Tinker with a Golem, so the Golem is in Bastion mode. It's really immune to dams, which are a very popular thing in the tournament. PL hate dams. This time we didn't ban the dams, so we took a setup that was immune to dams. And it's very good damage projection across the entire arena. The Rattlesnake, I don't know if it was our flag Rattlesnake or not, but if it was, that thing can pump out like 1,400 deeps. The Golem does like 500 or something, but it's got crews, so it can hit everywhere. It's got bonus painters and stuff, so it's good. We, on a scale of 1 to Gucci, we Gucci.
Oh, I can't believe you've done this.
The Gorgon Empire did bring a team that was, it looked like it was a force to be reckoned with. And it was. It definitely was.
And the thing is, it was piloted really competently. I
Yes.
mean, even something as simple as the Sleipnir sitting perfectly still. This is what I've been dealing with, by the way, and I feel like I've been dealing with it alone for the past like 8 minutes. But yeah, Gorgon Empire actually piloted really well. They were pretty patient, and they knew with no logistics, I mean, not even Friglogy, that it was just a matter of time. If they didn't get that first ship, if they didn't get a ship before their reload hit, it was over. They were talking about the Moa being a good primary pick. You look at him and you say, oh, we could break him. I think the EOS was a really good pick. It almost worked for them, which the word almost is not what you want to hear when you're in the losers bracket, but they got so close, so close, and it would have been such a major blow to that Tinker. Whereas the Moa is going to have a healthy tank despite being T1, and it doesn't really add much, and then you're forced into a reload before you go to that next target, which is a long
I think
time.
the Moa actually has a better shield tank than EOS does, because EOS isn't like...
Depending on how he's fit, right.
Yeah.
I mean, you really, in a good Tinker, obviously you emphasize resist over buffer. So he could get away with overheated hardeners, and even though he might die, and he probably would have died, it would have cost a 40-second reload off the RLMLs, which is just crushing, especially if you have no Logi to sustain. So, I mean, credit to Gorgon on that. That was as good as could have been done, I think, with what they brought.
Yeah.
In fairness, it was a bit of a strange thing to bring with the rapid lights in my mind, but...
Yeah, I was kind of mystified by their setup a little bit. They had 2 slashers, and I think if you replace those slashers with bursts, the frigate Logis, maybe the setup's a little bit stronger. Because the Serbs and the Caracoles and the Orthrus, they can like shoot pretty much all over the place. They're very fast. As long as they don't get damped, they're really strong. You don't really need that suicide tackle in the slasher. But I guess Gorgon Empire, like they needed it for something. I don't know.
And it's important to remember that the Gorgon Empire are not out. They're just into the elimination bracket
Yeah,
now.
exactly.
And we've got 2 more matches in this round of winners bracket, which will happen tomorrow. The first 2 matches that happen. We got Red versus Blue going up against Nulli Secunda. That'll be good.
That'll be really good.
I always love RVB matches, no
Yes,
matter what.
they are
Yes.
great. And the second match of the day will be CVA versus Hydra Reloaded.
That's
Also gonna be
really
awesome.
fun.
That's
Yeah.
going to be cool. CVA always bring a cool setup.
Yeah.
People always use the word wild card, and it's not wrong, but like CVA is a wild card.
Yeah.
They're so weird, but effectively weird. It's not quite like the Quebec, like let's see how many billions we can lose sorts of weird. It's like the forcing an FC to call a damnation primary.
Who
sort
brings
of
3
weird.
sacrileges and 3 damnations?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very like psychological warfare, sort of weird, and so that's going to be an awesome match. That'll be a really good way to
It's
wake
a good
up.
way to start off the day.
Yes.
We start again at 2 UTC time, which is either around coffee time or really early. But it'll be a Sunday morning, so waking up early and maybe grabbing an ice cream will be great.
We don't do that in America.
You should. You really should.
I mean, I'm not saying it's a bad practice. It's just, I don't know of any ice cream places open in America. I'm sorry, that wasn't relevant. But
Starbucks is kind of like ice cream if you get a nice.
Yeah, it is
You
now.
are from Bourbon country, so
From Bourbon.
like,
It doesn't-
you usually start the day with that.
It doesn't really matter what the weather is here. We go out for ice cream.
That they do. Yeah, they really do.
So, thank you for the first day of studio weekend. This was day 5 of Alliance Tournament 12. I am CCP Gargant. I will return here tomorrow at 2 p.m. UTC time. We have yet to decide who'll be sitting with me. It all depends on how I like you, how much I like you.
So I'll be the one pouring drinks.
Probably. But to everyone viewing, thank you. And we'll see you happy and alert tomorrow.